Yo, what's up? This is Splendid Ray on Far Side TV. Happy New Year to the to all the people. I'm sure we all been aging in dog years. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? Shit. If we aging in dog years, I wonder what is your faithful hound aging in. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
His odometer probably done turned over by now. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? Yeah, with all this crazy stuff. But what's up with you, man?
Nothing, man. Just try not to go insane. You know what I'm saying? We live in a different times, strange times, familiar times, and trying to keep my head on a swivel, and but while at the same time trying to maintain and stay focused on what I was doing before all this. You know.
Yeah, nah, hey man, I get it 100%. I get it 100%. On the political side of it, I've just had to accept the fact that, hey man, people are disgusted, and I can't blame them for being disgusted. And selfishly, we all just got to do what's best for us, man.
Yeah, they want us to play by democratic rules while we are under a dictatorship. It
Yeah,
don't make any sense to me. You telling us to follow these old rules that we no longer abide by because the democracy is over. And while at the same time, y'all we just gonna let you just keep whooping on us. Like that's not sustainable. This is like so I'm kind of waiting in the back of my head for the bubble to burst because they're gonna knock on the wrong door.
nah, that's the funny thing about it. Um, it's almost like being it's almost like being in Las Vegas and gambling, and you've been losing, but you still got a couple $100, and you just like, man, just put
Fuck.
it on anything, man.
Like,
Just, we
but
need.
but but also in Vegas, be, just before you doing all that, right? This how it be. Just for you doing all that, everything is funny and ha ha. You're giggling, but buying drinks. Hey, yeah, but you're right. As soon as you lose that last dollar, shit ain't funny no more.
And you
Shit
know,
ain't funny. Ain't nobody laughing. What you laughing at?
Vegas is one of my least. Uh, it's one of my least pleasurable places. You know what I'm saying? And I had a homeboy who lived in Las Vegas. And me, I like to talk to people, man. So I ask people questions, how you get money, blah, 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 blah. So I asked him, what's the craziest thing you ever seen while you've been in Vegas? And he said, man, I was at a bar one time and there was a guy there and he was lighting $100 bills on fire. And I was like, I was like, what was that about? And he said, man, homeboy was crying. He was lighting $100 bills on fire. And basically, he had gambled away his business, which he had a business partner. He said his wife was going to divorce him. And he was just going down the list of all these things. And I was just like, dang.
That
You
was some
know,
shit. Wasn't that some shit that was on the news? It reached the news or
oh,
something?
no, this, nah, nah. I'm sure that,
Like
I'm
I
sure
just
that,
never heard shit about that like that.
no, I'm sure it probably imitated itself. This was because this was back probably like about maybe 2002, 2003.
Oh, this happened like in the last week or two. Somebody just got arrested because they bet their life savings or some shit and jumped on the yeah, I saw the video. He jumped on the roulette table, whatever table he was at, and started throwing coins everywhere. And they said they had just lost his life savings or some shit, and he just went nuts. I'm like, man,
The last time I really gambled, back in had to be about 98, 99. And while we were getting our corporation done, we went to the casino and I was on the crap table and I turned 121 And at my height, I was just going to the field. And then I was betting little odd stuff on it though. But I took $121, and in 45 minutes, my highest point was 7,500. And then I dropped down to about 5. And Brown was like, I'm pulling you off this table right now because I do not want to ride home and have to hear about this. And so we're going to pull. So my thing was, I was either going to get because I have a hard top Mustang. It's really, I probably need to get rid of it. I've done nothing to it and I've had it since about 95. But I was either going to take the money and do something to my Mustang or get a saltwater aquarium. And I got a saltwater aquarium. You know, and that's my Vegas story. And the thing about it, after that, I never really messed with it, dude. I looked at it like that was the white unicorn moment where I I got whatever you supposed to get out of it, and I just really never looked for anything after that.
I got a couple of Vegas stories, but I used to be a flight attendant, and so I used to fly to Vegas like on a whim for a couple hours, and go to a casino spot, circus or something, play and fly back home and shit, So it was an interesting spot during that time of being a flight attendant. I got a couple stories.
When I realized that you could never really win at Vegas, we did a show out there, and like I said, I always talk to everybody, man, and I like to hear how people make money, get money, what's going on or whatever. And there was this one person that was like showing us around and drive. Well, he wasn't showing us nothing. He was a driver. That's what he was. So I was talking to him, and he was like, when he's not driving, his job is kind of like I can't remember the correct pronunciation of it. It starts with a C though, a consigliere or
concierge.
Yeah, concierge. So basically, he was telling me, his other job, or because in Vegas, people got a million jobs, man. It's a fast city. So he was saying, his job is to when these whales come in, either the casinos will fly them in to an airport or bring them in by helicopter. But basically, the job is to keep them gambling. And so whether it's girls, whether it's other kind of extracurriculars, whatever it is, they do everything to keep these guys spending and to keep them on the tables and whatever it takes to keep them. I just remember after that conversation, just kind of like, man, that's kind of evil, man. You know what I'm saying? I was like, man, but I say all that to say, like, man, Vegas is one of my least favorite places, dude. Like, I get no joy out of it, and I have a husband and wife good set of good friends, love them to death, and they live in Vegas, and they're like, oh man, you got to come and hang out, man. We live off the strip, we can just hit the buffets and all this, but it's just something about Vegas that I just don't get into.
I get it. I get it. It can be dangerous. You get caught up in that mix and don't learn that lesson.
Man. But people could say the same about LA. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, I've seen people come and catch that midnight train back to Georgia.
Greyhound. I done seen that station. I done seen that, the dreams. Some of them dreams at that station.
if you want to see something real, and I've seen it maybe 3 times. I've never been on it from here, but I've seen it a couple times. Dude, the Greyhound station is, oh man,
that used to be my one of my hubs. I used to when I started touring and stand up, first 3 years was on the Greyhound bus. So that used to be, I didn't see some shit that one in El Paso and one in Louisiana are the most that stick out of my mind are the most like each other. It looked like some crime just happened.
Man, when I was doing a lot of flyers for raves and stuff like that, when I would have to get stuff up to the bay, it was cheaper for me. At the time, they had a you could throw stuff on a Greyhound. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying for ship. And
yeah,
oh
yeah.
man, going down there, boy, just looking at just oh man, it's yeah, man. You got
I done been to do some things though, Greyhound. I sued Greyhound before. I was in a bus accident, a couple of them. They and to your point in regards to shipping shit, they used to ship bodies underneath the
I can
Greyhound,
imagine.
caskets and shit. I when I learned that, I was like, what? I'd have been on the Greyhound. Look, let me tell the story real quick. So one time I was on. When I tell you I've been some experiences on this shit, it's not an understatement. So I had my headphones, and I used to carry around my sequencer, my Yamaha Iron 1X, in my backpack and bag, but I always had music with me. So I'm sitting with this young brother. We even picked him up somewhere. He's sitting next to me to my right, and I'm listening to the headphones, and I'm like, this, it's banging in my head. I'm like, you know, and all of a sudden, it seemed like he could hear it or something because he started, you know, next to me, like bobbing his head. And I'm like, oh, okay, he liking it too, I guess. And then maybe 30 seconds pass, all of a sudden he leaning against me doing it and shit. I'm like,
Huh.
hey man, man, you all comfortable. It's like it's banging, but it ain't that banging. And all of a sudden he just violated. He put his arm all out the shit, was doing, I was like, yo, what the fuck? He was having a seizure, right?
Oh wow.
Right. So I was like, yo, dude back here trying to think he having a seizure, and I'm flipping out. I'm like, what the fuck? And so somebody on the bus was like, do this and blah, 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 and make sure the blah. So we following the instructions. The bus driver stopped the bus, and then, dude snapped out of it or whatever. And I was like, you all right? He was like, yeah, man, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, man, that shit was great. He was like, yeah, thanks, man, for helping me, whatever, right? So we continue on without a hitch. Not 2 days later, the same shit happened again on another trip on a Greyhound, but this time the person having the seizure was up front, right? So they had the seizure kicked off, and somebody was like, "Oh my god, they're having a seizure." Look, I'm in the back, I hear it. I'm like Superman. I just lean back. I said, "Hey, don't panic." And then I gave him the same instructions that I was given when dude had his seizure, and they followed it. They was like, oh, okay, yeah, they snapped out of it. Blah, blah. I was sitting back there like an old pro, like that shit just didn't happen 48 hours ago.
Oh man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, the Greyhound. Greyhound got some stories, and the Amtrak. Amtrak, I actually wrote a movie about the experience I had on Amtrak one time. And I've been in derailments on Amtrak. We done killed a couple people on Amtrak, blew up a truck. Uh,
But you
yeah.
work for Amtrak too?
No, I'm talking about as a writer,
Oh
right?
shoot.
Coming to gigs to the West Coast. I've taken Amtrak cross country probably about 2 dozen times, um, cross trekking or whatever. And yeah, the Amtrak, man, it's an experience. It's either way is an experience, but I couldn't do Greyhound in this day and age no more. That's no.
Yeah, no, man, I can imagine. I can imagine 100%. Hopping into the podcast on them though. For those that don't know, what city are you from?
I am from Gary, Indiana, originally by way of Kalamazoo, Michigan, raised primarily, but I live in Lansing right now.
Yeah, I was we were talking about that earlier today. And when you said Gary, like man, when I hear the word Gary, it's nothing but respect that I can put on it, man, because it's one of the realest places in
Yeah.
these United States of America,
It,
man.
it explains when somebody says they're from Gary, it kind of explains a little bit about them without explaining shit. Like they're like, oh yeah, he from Gary. That's why he acting like that. That's Garyism.
Yeah, and like we said, you know, the movie, Original Gangsters.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
was
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, let me write that down. Let me write that down, man.
yeah, no, Original Gangsters, man. And Drew Down, homeboy played Sparrow. We talked about Young Shaheem.
I partied with Drew Down and at Coconut Teaser on Sunset back in the day. He came down. He came to the club with his perm and everything. His perm and crew.
We did a rave. We performed at a rave back around 98, 97,
And
and
Cali.
it was it was up in the Bay.
Okay.
And it was crazy because I want to say E40 now they weren't performing, but Drew Down was there, E40 it came and whatnot. Whoever did it was connected, like super connected or whatever. And I just remember there was like maybe 10 foot tall. So imagine 10 feet high to about 30 feet wide. And they just had waters. And it was the promoter was Filipino and he had his whole family out there, dude. And they was slanging all them waters, man. They was like, you know, like I said, you know, I get man, I get into people making money, man. And it was just amazing to me. Homeboy had his grandparents working the ticket, the ticket booth, had security there with him, you know what I'm saying? But it was a whole family effort. But no, man, Gary, Indiana, man, that is Michael Jackson, Freddie Gibbs.
that's my um that's my only disappointment with the Jackson family, because my family connected to him too. My uncle was best friends with Mike, in from like first to the fourth or fifth grade. In fact, he wrote a book about it because Mike always says he don't remember from kindergarten to the sixth grade. My uncle's whole thing was, well, nigga, I do, and he wrote a book about it. But um, my the only disappointment with the family is the fact that they never came back and gave back. Gary could have been something else. Gary could have uh been that story, been that, never it could have put more credence on the phrase, don't forget where you come from. You know what I'm saying? And them niggas forgot, man. They left that city and never looked back. I don't like them for that.
Well, I'll say uh a lot of our conversations you and I have grace, giving people grace. For the
Nigga,
Jacksons,
8 of them, not one.
hey man, it
Just
was a
one.
lot. It was a lot. I'm sure it was a lot, dude. I'm sure. I'll give you one. So me coming into the entertainment industry, kind of being ushered in by Brown, him kind of like being like a very good beacon as far as morality and a whole bunch of stuff, and just not getting lost in the sauce. One of the things Brown would say to me would be like, "Dude," because I get kind of judgmental quick. You know what I'm saying? Or I'm less now, but back around 94, 95, 96, I was very quick to form an opinion and I was hard on it. And Brown would say,
I think we all were.
Brown would say, you don't know what you do if you had that money and you're that young. You know what I'm saying? Like you have no idea. Like you have no idea. And I say that to say, we're not groomed. We're not prepared for the trap. It's not a crack house trap, but a lot of times success and just a lot of things that come along with vanity, you're not prepared for it. And when it hits, man, people don't even realize they're just surviving, but they're surviving. You know what I'm saying? And not to just give everybody a pass and all that, but I just really learned to give some people great because they did perfect example. Not to get into your personal business, but the conversation we had today, I said, and this is something that I kind of took from Mike Epps, Shed and Sharp, the podcast, the interview that they did. And man, sometimes parents are just kids and they just doing the best they can do, man. They don't, they.
I agree with that too. Both things are true. Because I forgiven my father because I can empathize and sympathize that he was a young man and he probably didn't want to be a parent. And I understand being a young man and a parent what that struggle is, and how it could be for someone who wasn't strong enough to carry it out. And he wasn't strong enough to carry it out, and that's just was on. And he was naturally a bad person, and that nigga embraced it, and that's just what it was. And so, and he just lied to himself about it, which manifests in his drug addiction and alcoholism, trying to be what my mama wanted him to be because she was a devout Jehovah's Witness and devoted to him and all that old shit. And he was the exact opposite, trying to be something he wasn't. So I forget somebody in California helped me come to that conclusion. And because I told him it was a brother from the mosque. He was like, started asking me questions leading into my father, and I was like, yeah, fuck that nigga, and he was like, oh, you got animal. This is when I was younger, my 20s. I was like, yeah, man, he wasn't there for me and blah blah. He did this and that and third. Fuck him. He was like, I can understand. He did it smooth and shit. He was like, yeah. So he was what? You probably a young man when he had you, huh? And I was like, yeah. He said, young man, you had what? Just you? You had a sibling? I'm like, yeah, I had a brother. Like, yeah, him and him and them and your mother, and it's like, yeah, young, yeah. Say, you got kids? I said, yeah, yes, sir. I got babies at home. He's setting me up. I was like, yeah, he's like, and you not perfect, huh? I was like, no, sir, not at all. No, he was like, so if you made a mistake in your kid's life when they was young, you probably want them to forgive you, wouldn't you? Huh? It's like, yeah, yeah, nigga, yeah.
Dude, I'm gonna tell you when I first really kind of realized I was becoming an adult. So I had this homeboy, rest in peace, Al Jackson. He used to DJ this a club called Juju, and it was brown rice and barbecue. But Juju, um, well, you know what? They used to throw parties. They were called the Soul Children, and they were a bunch of like cool black kids. There was they all went to kind of like elementary school together, and it was probably about maybe 10 of them, and they ran their parties like uh they ran their parties like a student government. So like everything was a vote, and I did merch for them for years, and it would kind of frustrate me because it was like, to me, the closest I've had to anything has kind of been like Brown as my business partner, so like one person. You know what I'm saying? And even dealing with a group, it still wasn't like I could kind of do my thing, but like with them, everything took 6 votes minimum. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just like, man, so they had thrown a party, and I was probably about 19, 20 years old. They throw these house parties and they play like rare grooves. Like that was kind of, they played like a little bit of hip hop, but it was more like rare grooves and really like DJing a party. So imagine your parents' coolest party in the 70s, but these were like 19, 20, 21 year olds throwing that kind of party, playing that kind of music with a sprinkle of hip hop. So anyway, I went to one of the parties. It was a house party, and I had saw this girl I went to elementary school with. Cute girl, really cute girl. And I had seen her in this little party scene like maybe 3 or 4 times in about 6 months, because it was like it was a cool little party scene, right? So so I had seen her about 3 or 4 times, and then the last time I saw her, she was pregnant, but she was at the party, and she had gotten pregnant by this guy who used to come to the parties too. And I remember seeing her sitting on some steps, and she's pregnant and she's crying, and homeboy's like telling her like, I mean, I try not to get in, like, man, that's they, but homeboy was like, leave, or it was something where he just wasn't. He wanted to be at the party. She was pregnant at the party. She was sitting on the steps and she was crying. And I think that's one of the first real times that I was like, man, this world is cold, man. You know what I'm saying? Because she was a smart girl. She was cute. She was real cute. You know what I'm saying? And she was with this dude, and I could see how she was kind of trying to, man, she probably wanted a family because she was about 19 years old, pregnant and whatnot. And homeboy's like, man, I'm at the jam. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, when they don't get to live out that childhood, man, that shit, they get to thinking about it, and they like the idea of what that family thing is about, but don't have any idea what that really means. And so that disappointment with not following through with what your idea, your dream was, to what reality is right now. That shit can be devastating. And so I know one of my kids going through that right now. She don't want to be in this position. It's not what they. So they angry at each other. They angry at themselves for not following what they thought they were going to live like, and to what they are now, until they resolve that disappointment within themselves of right now. They're not going to move any further. Become arrestingly developed. That's where that term comes from, arrested development. It's hard. Transitioning into talking about the kids, it's hard. I was telling you earlier, it's hard to watch your children run their head into the wall, because that's basically what they're doing, and won't. And you understand why they're gonna do it, because they're stubborn just like you was, and sometimes they gotta feel the pain in order to understand. And it's too bad that that's what they gotta do. They gotta burn themselves before they realize the shit was hot. It's like that's the same shit we did, and it's like, you was this stupid. Yeah.
The first hip hop song that ever spoke to you.
Tupac, Brenda's Got a Baby.
Dang,
Yeah.
that's a heavy one.
Yeah. I was in the 12th grade, and I memorized that song within 48 hours, did a music video to it in my communications class. And I had never saw the music video, and it was similar to the music video. And I followed Pac from when he was with Digital Underground, and being the roadie or whatever, because I got history in writing in Hollywood shit because of Pac or whatever. But anyway, I he's been my inspiration since the time he hit the scene, before he became the main thing.
It's so
And
funny. It's so funny you say that. I was talking to speaking of, I was talking to Brown on yesterday, and we were talking about something, and I want to say that I was just saying how, like, Tupac was a thespian. Like people want to. He had so many personalities to him. You know what I'm saying? But he didn't just hop on the movie screen and dude. He was he went to a school of the performing arts. You know what I'm saying? So that right there is like,
he was destined. He was going to be. So here's what happened. He at 17 he was homeless, and he didn't want to be at home, and he was already fucking with Digital Underground. They had showed him a few opportunities, and so the night he became homeless, he had two choices. He was going to be shipped off to, and I can't remember what state it was, to be the head of the Young Black Panthers, but he really wanted to keep fucking with Digital Underground because he saw a future with that. But he was going to do either or because he didn't have a roof over his head. So he went to Chopmaster and told him what his options were and what he really wanted. And that's when they made the decision to bring him on full time with Digital Underground. If they wouldn't have done that, he would have been the leader of the new Young Black Panthers.
dude, let me tell you something.
He was that prolific.
I saw Digital Underground perform uh before Tupac in Oakland, and Shock G was cold on the keys. but the whole band, like when they were really a band with
Yeah.
Chop Master,
Yes. That's that's how
dude,
that's how I got the deal to write a Tupac. I was the first person to be commissioned legally to write a Tupac film by Chop Master because him and two other people had won a case that allowed only them to do something legally on Tupac because Digital Underground discovered Tupac. So when they won that court case, I was living in Studio City with a music producer, and the dude that got them they deal in the first place with Tommy Boy Records. I was staying with him, and Chop used to come over. I was the starving artist kid, and he knew why I was there or whatever. And he took me to the gas station one time, and it was like, yo, I know you hear his voice deep as mine and shit, deeper. And I know I know you hear, trying to get your writing thing on and whatever. And he tells me about the court case, and he was like, I want you to write a movie based on a book I got here somewhere that he signed right here. He said I want you to write the screenplay, and he gave me a couple dollars to do it. He gave me, I think it was $500 to start. And what happened was I went back to Arizona. I started writing the stuff, and he got 2 record deals in the interim, and we didn't do it because his first love is music, and he was like, "Fuck that movie." And then about a year later, 8 Mile came out. I was so depressed. I was
dude.
but
I
this is
used to think, Chop Master and uh Shock G were brother because they both had a nose on them. They both
uh
had a nose.
uh
They both, and nobody would put that together, but they both. And I used to wonder if Chop Master played Humpty Hump, but then I later found out that it was one of Shock's cousins that would come in and do the Humpty thing. But dude, me watching Digital Underground before Tupac, they were like Funkadelic, man. They were really a band, dude. They
well,
were
they got
really,
history. They got history with Funkadelic, especially Chop Master. So yeah,
yeah, they were really a band, dude. Like, and I I hate, I saw a podcast over the weekend. It's so crazy you bring him up. I saw a podcast over the weekend where it was Chop Master and his son, and they were
yeah,
going into
yeah. I follow it. Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
they were going into some stuff, and I was like, man, dude, I remember that dude, man. I remember him. Shock was cold, but Shock, he was more of a piano type player. Like, and he did production, but he's more piano. But Chop was on those keys, dude. Like literally, dude. It was like when I saw them perform, it reminded me of some funkadelic stuff, dude. Like
It
that
should.
was
It should. I got some stories I can't divulge on here, but yeah, it should.
so. What's the last album you listened to in its entirety?
uh, Richie Rich, his last joint.
Okay,
Uh, Richie Rich and MCA, they last most recent shits. And
okay,
I and and they was gangster rappers then. They it's adult gangster rap now, like you know retrospect uh and what they're doing now, but especially Richie Rich, he really doing some stuff down in Oakland, and business owner, how property and shit like that, and he displayed that on his Instagram. But the beats, uh the music, you can hook me emotionally with a dope beat. You know what I'm saying? Like, and they have them, and that's leads back into the mechanics. The mechanics produced a lot of they to me their hits. Um, uh, in the last couple albums, the last couple
yeah.
albums.
No, the mechanics are real tight. They
Yeah,
definitely real tight. The reason I asked you about that is because I feel like the art of listening to albums is almost like hieroglyphics or writing in cursive. Like and I'll say it a million times, and I'm gonna keep on saying it a million times. It's like almost a forgotten tongue. You know what I'm saying? Or an art form. Um, the last album, last weekend I listened to The Alchemist and the Mobb Deep album that they did.
Okay.
And that was from beginning to end. And then before that, I listened to Premier and Nas. And then before that, I listened to De La Soul. And one of one of the very interesting thing about the De La Soul album was I was at the listening party in LA, and it was probably about 200 people, and all heads nodded from the intro of the album to the end of the album.
But what was your favorite out of all the ones you just named?
Out of all the albums,
Yeah, all the ones you just named, what was your favorite session of listening?
um,
You got the most out of?
so Dave from De La was a very good friend. Like not even on some hip, like it surpassed hip hop type of thing. And so the way they honored him with the album and had him on the songs and whatnot, that was a very personal, that was like me not completing the circle, but
Give me some
before Dave
closure.
passed, but
Give me some closure.
well, before he passed, he knew he was kind of sick, and he had asked me to come. And there was a couple shows he wanted me to come to, and then one I didn't. But then when I hung with him at the last one, we talked. But it was that same like, yo, man, we need to get together. We need to do more of this. We need to do more of that. Like, all that kind of talk. And then he was gone. And so I felt like hearing that album was almost like our last conversation, kind of. It was like so that the album was dope. So that was on that side of it. Uh, on the other side of it, that the Mobb Deep album that Alchemist did was dope to me because Alchemist production style is almost like an old school beat tape type of production where he's going to have a dope hook. He's not going to overproduce anything. It's going to be a dope beat, uh, some classic music. Because Alchemist, he used to, what I remember of Alchemist, Muggs from Cypress Hill, Alchemist used to do like the record digging for him. You know what I'm saying? And he might have did some record digging for Dr. Dre. You know what I'm saying? But I know for a fact that Alchemist would hook up with this dude called Skate Master Tate, rest in peace, back in LA around 90, 91, 92, 93. And these are dudes that just had 45s for the most part. And they were who you went to if you were, because so producers would hire these guys to dig for them. And so Alchemist was one of those dudes where he would go and he would get what the producer, and this is no, but the way I remember it, Alchemist was more of a beat maker, and then he would take the loops and all that to the producers, and then they would hook and put all that on. So the De La Soul album, reminiscent of my homeboy. They had him talking, they had him rapping. That was like the last conversation, and me being able to like have a piece of him. And then on the Mobb Deep album, uh, con- I had no connection to Prodigy at all, but it was dope how they took. But that's crazy. I didn't make the parallel between that. Like Nas and Mass Appeal, he had two, because I want to say that Mobb Deep's album might have come out on Mass Appeal. I'm not sure, but uh, but even if not Mass Appeal, those are two albums with two people that are no longer here with us, and they were put together after the people passed, but like seamlessly put together and a good listen from beginning to end.
That's what's up. That's what's
You
up.
know what I'm saying? A good listen.
I always wonder
Um,
like that when a
I
member dies, you know, how the, you know, like TLC when I, the album that they put out, I don't remember if they had like, you know, added uh which one died? Left Eye? That's the one that died. It was
yep,
Left. Yeah,
yep.
yeah. I don't know if they had Left Eye on any songs after the fact. I can't. I couldn't name them if they did. So I always like to see, you know, something like what you described, De La Soul did.
Oh, dude, I'll say both those albums are a good listen. They're definitely a good. I mean, if you like to see, like I said, cursive writing and hieroglyphics, ancient arts, dude. We forgot how to listen to albums.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We're more like I'm not gonna say we've been dumbed down, but we've evolved into Jiffy Pop. We've evolved into Jiffy Pop culture, which is more like you just go for a song. You know what I'm saying? And you might not even like the song. You might just like the hook, or you might just like the beat. And then you know you accept that that's what you're going to get out of it, and you keep it moving. Um, as a as a producer and a music listener, how do you find new music?
Um, I'm stubborn in the sense that, you know, I gotta listen to some, you know, some things that are out there to kind of gauge what the norm is, and then I don't, because I don't want the influence of what the norm is, and that kind of coincides with how I do uh my stand up. I don't watch stand up comedy. I don't watch other comics other than maybe uh if I'm at the show or in the show. Other than that, I don't watch specials. The last special that I watched was Chris Rock, for obvious reasons. Um, I think that was the last one that I watched. I seem like I watched somebody else's just recently. I can't remember. But anyway, I don't. So my listening is limited. That's why when you asked me the last album that I listened to, I was happy to be able to answer that shit, because I had just listened to a bunch of their music because of traveling or whatever. But I I I when I look for samples, you know, it used to be the old crate digging and, you know, looking at records and shit like that, but now it's digital, and that's the part of AI that I have embraced. And I talked about it on my channel the other day, is the thing about doing it digitally removes the accidental discoveries. The you know, you having to listen to most of the record to hear, you know, to get that one particular thing. With digital, it's going straight to the sample. Oh, no, I don't like that. You go to the next one. I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that. You lose when you did it, you know, the spinning the record the old fashioned way, putting it on the player and going through the, you know, okay. You lose all of that. So, um, you know, to embrace the way it's done now, and then understanding even when CDs came out, I look forward to reading jackets, pulling that out and seeing who was on it, who produced it. Master P, when they came out with their whole line of stuff, it was a masterclass in marketing, because they would have information about who was coming out next, and, you know, what movie was. That's how they promoted their movies and shit, was in them CD jackets. And you had, it was like the newspaper when you bought one of their records. You open that bitch up, you got a comic book in that bitch, a dime bag of weed, phone numbers to get your next act, what movie they got, who's starring in it. It was a joy to get a new CD back in the day, man. All that shit is gone. All that, all that shit is gone. However, there is a movement on folks bringing it back, and I'm seeing it more and more every day, and how people are doing it, and it's called DTC, direct to consumer. People are going back to that shit because everything sounds the same. And as a collective, we are all finally agreeing everything sounds the fucking same. And so people want that nostalgic feel of mistakes and the harmonies and the feel of human uh, connection within the music. We could tell. We could tell that shit is, we could tell. We could feel it. And so we gonna everything come back like bell bottoms. Everything. You know what I'm saying? The world end is gonna be bell bottoms, roaches, and 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 herpes.
Honest, dude. It's funny you say that. I was in Hollywood today. I had to run up there real for a second, and I saw this guy walking across the street, and it's crazy how things transition from skinny jeans to bell bottoms. He was right. He was wearing some bell bottoms with some Adidas Sambas, and and I'm just kind of like, dang, that's like from sagging and
Yo.
skinny jeans to pants fitting on your waist, right?
Yo,
But you rocking the
everything,
bells.
everything come back, man. And so if you ain't one of those people that just jump on the next hot thing smoking and just stay in your lane and continue to perfect what you do, that shit gonna spin back around, man, and you gonna already be ready. You ain't got to get ready. You've already been doing that. You ain't straight because they doing this, that, and the third. That's what I do best. That's what I'm gonna focus on. That shit'll be back. I'll be ready. And that's how I approach my whole career. So, cream rises to the top. And if you put in the work, the time, I've been in show business almost 30 years. So, my time got to come back around.
Your morning, your morning cookups.
Morning cookups, man. I force myself to do the morning cookups, and I'm glad I do. It is a great exercise and reminder of what I've had to do my whole career, and that is, um, um, you know, do the things that people don't want to do, which makes them successful in the first place. And so, doing the morning cookups, my expectation is not to always come out with a banger. My expectation is to uh, exercise my mind and keep this thing functioning and try to expand my music creating capabilities and to establish that I do this for real and it ain't no AI shit going on here. And that's unfortunate. That's the shift of the real time shift in our business that now I got to document shit. Cause I was never a person to be out taking pictures. I didn't have so many experiences in show business that I can't prove because I ain't got no pictures. I wasn't that dude. I wouldn't do like, hey man, let's take a picture. I wasn't that guy. And I want that to become the same with music. And my friend be like, oh, man, that's AI. No, nigga, I do this for real. And I got evidence. And so I've been fortunate enough to have done some cookups that have produced some great songs and documented it visually and stuff. And people are paying attention because I got a couple messages. One young cat was like, I see you. He said, I'm a younger version of you. He said, we need to link, do some work or something like that. And that was a compliment. I'm like, I know they're paying attention because, if it's good, if it's good, it's good. It don't matter, this is what it is. And people like good. So just stay consistent. That's what it's all about, just being consistent. And somebody, you'll find your people. You're gonna find it. You just gotta be consistent, man. And this game is shifting, and we gotta shift right along with it, man. Hip hop and music in general came out of the struggle, so this should make us stronger. Just like spinach to us. The struggle is spinach.
One of the parts of our conversation that we had earlier today, and I'm gonna say it, and it's man, and I said it earlier today, and I say it right now. This is meant with no disrespect, like
But
100.
before you say that, I'm addressing somebody in the chat. Who was that? Okay, Frank. Yeah, I know vinyl still. I got vinyl. This is my vinyl right here. I got that. When I say DTC, direct to consumer, I preach it and I teach it. I don't I walk it and talk it.
Frank Doc.
You know what I'm saying? But go ahead.
Yeah. Um, you know, and like I said, man, no disrespect, but you're one of those cats similar to another comedian that I know that I'm real cool with. And you're like multifaceted. Like you got like but it's the gift and the curse of doing so many things is that if it's not necessarily packaged in separate packages, it could be a sensory overload, and people don't know like where to attach the focus or whatever. But one of the things that you do, and I'm not sure if there's people that really know that's what you do, but uh you write screenplays, that type of thing.
That's
You also deal with
that's what got me. Everything to date is writing. I've been a writer since the first grade, and that's no exaggeration. I was the kid in the class that the class wanted to write to read my story out loud last because it was always funny. And then most of it didn't make any sense, but it was funny. And that's all that mattered to me. And so I used to
okay.
do that. I used to do that in elementary. I sat and had to think about it one day. I was like, where did shit come from? And I was writing since the first grade, first, second, third grade. I was writing parody. I used to love to write. I liked Mel Brooks and loved how they took movies and would write funny versions of them. That really intrigued me, and so I took to that as a little kid and was doing shit like that. So I've always been writing has been second nature to me my whole life. Uh, I've been that's one blessing that I acknowledge and solely appreciate because it helps in everything that I do, writing music, writing jokes, writing scripts, et cetera, et cetera.
I saw that you had posted something about a documentary you had done a while ago, and you were saying that you foreseeably see a part two to that documentary. Um,
That's the first one. We
all
won.
right,
Here's the new one.
okay. Annie isn't afraid anymore.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah. The original was Annie Was a Liar, and I was sitting here making some music and thinking about my career and how I'm trying to rebrand and package and those individually those talents and work that shit out. And I'm like, it's not the right time to be doing some big movie right now because of the climate we're in. And what the fuck am I gonna do? And it like literally dropped in my lap. she sent me a message, a private message, was like, hey, and this is the perfect pitch. This is the perfect Hollywood pitch. She ain't even in Hollywood. She was like, um, would you be interested in doing a part two to Annie? She said, I'm grown now and I'm not afraid. I said, my brain was like, say yes, say yes, say yes. We'll figure it out later. Say yes. So I was like, yeah, yeah, we'll do it. Give me a week. Let me figure things out in my head. And yeah, we just did our first recorded interview a couple days ago. So I got to go up and meet them in about a week and do some location scouting, et cetera, et cetera. But it's going to be a very I ain't even, the award shit it's a given. The story they have to tell from their perspective, and it's not just her, it's her seven siblings. They want to talk too. And it's like, wow. And the stuff that they can reveal in regards to being Native American in the foster care system is like, God damn, for real. Like and it's personal to me because I'm an ex foster kid, and so to 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 get somebody to co-sign and confirm all the things that I've been speaking my whole life, and I have no documentation for the most part. These people have documentation of everything that they're going to be speaking on, in regards to what the system does. The system doesn't, when you age out of the system, that's it. When I aged out, it was, hey, good job for not getting in trouble. I holla. That was it. And if I didn't join the army, I'd probably be in prison right now. You know, I only joined the army because I had shit to do that day. And that's and so the movie should enlighten people that, you know, when you go to foster care, you these people that you are being given to, because that's what you're being given to some people. You don't know who the hell they are, but they have a whole dossier on you. You know what I'm saying? That's a little, it should be equal. We should know who the people are, where they come from, who their cousin is, all that. And then when we leave, we should have there should be some kind of account that was set up for us that uh say some kind of savings account, and it gains some interest, and this is what you get when you age out. Here's this money. This is what you can use it towards. We provided a scholarship that you can go to this, that, and the third, and you know, some options. They don't give. They set you up for failure, and that
I'm
shouldn't.
gonna I'm gonna ask you a very personal question. Um, the year before you aged out of foster care, your mind, how did you prepare your mind for when that date came that you actually aged out? And when you and was it like, did they give you a grace period after you aged out to kind of figure some things out or whatever? Or when you aged out, was it just a hard cut? This is this is it, and then you got to fend for yourself.
That part. Luckily, my last foster home, the foster parents treated me like one of theirs anyway, and was cool with me hanging out after the fact. And but it wasn't but a month later that I joined the army, so that wasn't a big issue. But yeah, it was basically, hey, I'm telling you, Gardis Tate, that's his name, my old probation officer. We friends on Facebook. Uh, I think he like took me to lunch in Kalamazoo at a bagel place or something, and was like, "Hey, man, you know," because I wasn't a criminal, quote unquote. You know, I was a kid that was in an abusive home and kept running away from home, so I would be put with criminals, like these foster. So Annie was a liar, come from the fact that when I was a little kid, little stupid kid, I thought foster care was gonna be like this little redhead girl in this movie. That's how dumb I was. So I thought when they put you in foster home, you get a daddy Warbucks. Nigga, that's not true. That ain't true. I learned the hard way. That's why it's called And He Was a Liar. That bitch lied to me. I was on a
You don't get
farm.
a Jamie Foxx around this mug.
Look, I was on a farm. I was, I got abused on that farm. I got hit with a bullwhip like a slave, bareback, and you know, yeah, man, it was not what was portrayed in that movie. But yeah, they foster care is fucked up, man. Because some people do it for the money, and it's clear that they're doing it for the money. And some people really have. It seems like, you know, there's a market for people if you got enough money to get the right kind of kids, and so they be snatching kids and, you know, unjustly calling it something when, especially if they're poor and don't have any power. Yeah, and this is kind of the story of some of the subjects in this new film have to tell in regards to this business. It's a business. It's not care. It's not social work. It's a business. And
So you aged out.
mhm.
Um, you go from one family that wasn't your biological family to a family of the state, a family of the country, not the state, family of the country. You're in the military.
Yeah.
How was that transition?
I'm gonna tell y'all this story, man. This is a good time. I've told it plenty of times, but Have you ever seen the movie The Renaissance Man?
Nope.
You got to see it. It's with Danny DeVito, Kadeem Hardison. What's the girl that played in that movie Clueless? The black chick. Stacey Dash was in it. And Khalil, Khalil, what's his name? Khalil. He played in Juice. Dude that played in Juice.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, the movie, Khalil's character was arrested during training. The MPs came in and they was like, what was wrong? He's not who he says he is. He's actually a drug dealer named so and so and so and so. And he joined the military to hide from being, arrested, blah, blah, blah. And he was legit changing his life in the military and was a smart dude. He just happened to be a drug dealer. And so when that scene happened in the movie, nigga, I cried because that happened to me. I wasn't a drug dealer, but that happened to me. And so that movie has a place in my heart because that shit was real as fuck. Because it happened to me. I was that same scenario, and it was bogus. And by the time it was all sorted out, um, I basically uh, got out of the military because they weren't treating me fairly. Um, so what happened was when I was 17, I caught a joyriding case. Basically, we was in a stolen car riding around town, whatever, whatever. And nothing had became of it by the time I graduated. Other than that, I was a good kid. I got good grades. I was self-contained. My probation officer never had to come do anything to me. I never got suspended. I graduated. I was captain of the wrestling team. I was a good kid. So, every now and then I did some dumb shit. And so did this joyride thing. Out of my sight, out of mind, when nobody tripping, whatever, I joined the military. So in the military, during training or whatever, I was always a volunteer. I was a hustler. I used to $20. I was good at doing military folding shit and packing your shit and doing all that shit. KP $20, I'd do it for you. I was that guy. I'd always volunteer, to do whatever. I was going in there to be Rambo. That's fuck it. Let's do this. And so they took advantage of the fact that they knew that I was helpful and would volunteer. So months into training, we out bivouacking one day, and they asked for they set me the fuck up. Nigga. They asked for volunteers, and they was like, yeah, we need volunteers to leave in the morning and go back to base to do XYZ. First hand to go up. They knew it. They even played the game. It was like they called me like third or fourth. They was like, yeah, you. It's all Private Lewis. You do blah blah blah. So we, go to sleep. Next day, we pack our shit up. We going back to CQ, to do whatever they want us to do, clean up, whatever, whatever. So they like, yeah, you go over here, you pick up, do that, this police this area, whatever. Y'all go over here. We need y'all to go in the kitchen and do blah blah. Probably Lewis, you and so. Go in the CQ room, clean that up, whatever, whatever. He's like, all right, bet. We go in there. MP, when I open the door, there's MP standing there. Boom. I'm like, ooh, somebody in trouble. Looking around and shit. And it was like, Mr. So talking to me. I'm like, yeah. You were under arrest, blah, blah. Nick put me in cuffs and shit. I was like, what the fuck? I turned around. The company commander, he's standing there smiling like they just caught Nino Brown and shit. You know what I'm saying? They put me in cuffs. They not telling me shit. They not telling me why. There's a whole movie happening right now. So they extradite me. They put me in Georgia jail for like they had me there like 2-3 days. And I'm talking about with killers. I'm talking about motherfuckers that's getting life for the shit that they did. So I'm in there for 3 days waiting to be extradited. I still don't know what the fuck what's going on. Uh, they extradite me with a van full of people going to different prisons. They dropping them off of prisons like a board game across the country and shit. Because we going from Georgia to Michigan. I would expand on that part because there's another story to it, but I won't. So we get to Michigan to where I'm getting dropped off at the county jail or whatever, and I get the next day I go see the judge who I'm supposed to see, and I'm telling them the whole time, y'all making a mistake. I ain't whatever y'all got on that, y'all making a mistake, blah, blah, blah. They was like, yeah, nigga, yeah. Everybody say that shit, whatever. The judge, when I got in front of the judge, he was like, he looked at the paperwork, he said, you in the Army? I said, yes, sir. This is for Joyride. You were physically in the Army when you were, they removed you from, I said, yes, sir. He said, this is bullshit. He said, case dismissed. Thank you for
Mm,
your service. Yeah, he was like, thank you for your service. How dare you bring this man and he's serving the country, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, he was pissed the fuck off, man. He was pissed. I was like, I was trying to tell them that the whole time. Man, they thought they didn't tell them why they were extraditing me. They just told them that we have a warrant for his arrest, blah, blah, blah. And so the military thought they really had done some shit. They caught, biggest drug lord in the world and shit, man. So when that movie came out, man, look here, I needed some puffs, and I was,
hey man, that's a good. Hey man, that's your
man,
screenplay right there,
right
man.
there. You know what I'm saying?
That's your screen. That's your
Yeah,
screenplay, man. That was a good one. That was oh man. That was man.
yeah.
That was
So,
yeah.
so when it comes to things that the military and the government say, nigga, they be, I see what, because it's more to that story of how I had to get home. How they was treating me after
Mhm.
the after I was vindicated. I tried to so I called them, I said, hey, I'm ready to come back. Everything was thrown out, blah, 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 blah. They was like, well, you got 24 hours to get back here, or we're gonna report you AWOL. I'm like, well, I don't have no money. Y'all motherfuckers extradited me here. My paycheck. I was like, well, just send me my paycheck. I'll pay for it. They was like, you got 24 hours. They wasn't sending me nothing. So I was like, this bitch, what the fuck? They trying to set me up because they thinking I'm a criminal. So my uncle, I come from a military family, and one of my uncles was still in. He was a master sergeant. And so I finally told him I started being gun ho because I wanted to do it on my own. I didn't want to get the input and this, that, and the third going into the military, which was a mistake. Anyway, I told him, he's like, that's illegal. He's like, do this. And he told me exactly what to do. The motherfucker sent me my paycheck within the 24 hours, and I paid to go get back to base. And they just treated me shitty from then on out. And I was like, fuck these motherfuckers. And that was it.
Dang. Nah, man. That was a good one. I'm gonna hit you with one more, man. Yeah, nah, this is way more than what I was thinking we was gonna do. Yeah, this is a lot, man. This is yeah, that's a fact. You know, if I was a scientist, I could say that's scientifically proven around this mug. Yeah, a little bit more than a theory. Um, how did you feel when social media um had fact checking introduced Facebook as well as Instagram, even to the point of where when there was AI generated images, Facebook and Instagram would flag it. But once Trump began a serious run for office, somehow all the fact checking, all the every single thing just kind of went out the window. It was no longer um, a part of the guardrail
I know what it is.
to social media.
Yeah, it was Zuckerberg had implemented that, and that's why you would get those when you about to post something and say, "Oh, nigga, don't do that." Is it this seem like it's this, that, the third, and it would either limit your shit or just block it outright. And so when Trump got elected again, Zuckerberg went in and removed that on purpose because the administration was complaining that all their shit was getting flagged, and so
Uh,
to stop that they had to remove those guidelines.
guardrails, yeah.
YouTube about to do it too, rolling that shit back. Matter of fact, YouTube is reinstituting people's page who had lies and misinformation that they call it on there that they were removing because of said truths and whatnot. So they've given people back their spaces based on the Trump administration crying double standard.
Man, that because and it's funny how life works. I was kind of upset when there was so much fact checking and so much, and then this is AI created and this is not factual. Da, 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 da. And man, if be careful what you wish for was, I mean, he flipped the mattress over and just took it to a whole nother level where there is no guardrail.
I was kind of like that too. What you just described, I was kind of like, well, okay, man, they a little overkill, you know. But you like, man, where's that shit at? Where's it at? Well, it's gone. It's like everything. You got to question everything, man. It's the videos, they're getting as an editor and making films. Nigga, that shit is scary. I'm looking at shit like, damn, that's AI. Like,
oh yeah, I dive deep. I dive deep. I really don't. I put it this way: when I see something that jerks an emotion out of me or makes me flop to the left or flop to the right, my first thing is let me go to Google and start diving. If it's important enough, let me go to Google and let me start. And the crazy thing about it is a lot of stuff is just 100% false, man.
oh yeah.
100% false. And I'm like, dang. There
But
was a girl.
Doesn't it make you question yourself sometimes? Like, am I wrong this often? Like, this shit is not true. It can't. You know what I'm saying? Like,
No, but it's engineered. It was meant to do that to us, though. It was
right,
meant.
right, right,
And for those that aren't willing to dive down the rabbit hole, they're just going to be on one, and then they're going to, pass on the. And I'll say this, and I'll leave it alone, and we're gonna wrap it up. My conspiracy theory is that's the warfare.
that and what you're seeing now on I just busted somebody the other day because I could tell I use it a lot, chat for certain things, and I have a line. I use it for things that I've already written, like if I want like a bio, and I've written the bio down. I say, hey, chat, summarize this bio for me, bam, 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 and the motherfucker summarize it, and mostly everything it reprinted is the shit that I already said, they motherfucking words. Then they said it the way I said it because I write anyway. So I use it for shit like that. People are using it for direct conversations, trying to act like they smart and shit, and they'll put it on Instagram. I just called somebody the other day. I said, hey, that's a great chat response, but in real life, XYZ, this, that, the third, blah, 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 blah. And other people came in on my comment was like, you saw that too, huh? Like their response was clearly from Chat GPT. I'm like, but that's where we are. People.
No, that's where we at.
People are AI smart.
Oh yeah,
that's the new lane right there. People gonna be like, oh, that nigga AI is smart. That nigga Chat.
So where can people find your music?
Well, somebody asked about the vinyl. You can always go to my website, hoodrawls.com or gdsmusic.net. They take it the same place. It's got everything that you need to know about me and what I do, whether it's stand-up music, movies, et cetera, et cetera.
And what are your social media handles?
On Instagram is therealamaru.com, spelled all the way out, and mostly everything else at therealamaru.
All right. Yeah, well, shoot.
Or Greenwood District Studios, anything that has that on there. Greenwood District Studios.
And when can they catch your cook-ups?
They have moved to 10 o'clock on Twitch, and every now and then I'll chime in on Instagram at about 9 with a good morning.
But 10 o'clock, what time zone?
Eastern.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Nah, man. Well, with that being said, dude, I appreciate the conversation always. Man, we really haven't. Yeah. Life has been life and has been life.
The hell out of me. Life and the hell out of me.
Yeah. But nah, man, I talked to you and I talked to another one of my partners today. And nah, man, it's cool to catch up with my folks, dude. I appreciate everything. Anybody watching, his cook-ups are definitely informational, if nothing else.
Yeah, I talk shit on that too, and they not all bangers all the time. They not always. I fucked up a couple days ago and was telling everybody how to do a certain thing. It was fucking up. Like I was deleting shit that I shouldn't be deleting, but luckily we recovered. Showed them how to recover too with the undo and whatnot and everything that I was doing. But I fucks up live and shows it, and shit ain't always perfect. That's what I want people to understand. That hit song you hear, it may be some work that went into that bitch. It may have almost got canceled because it may have sucked at one point. It may have, been a total accident. This is how it happened. That's what I like about it. So yeah, come check it, bro. Check your boy out.
Oh, well, this has been another episode of Splendid Radio on Farside TV. Peace.